Making headlines tonight. A surprise announcement from the Prime Minister. Cambodia is to start vaccinating children between the ages of 6 and 12 from Friday. Sheer joy as hundreds of secondary school children head back to class after almost 7 months of online teaching. And the world's first human pinball gets launched into action in London. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. A surprise announcement from the Prime Minister on Wednesday morning. Cambodia is to start vaccinating children between the ages of 6 and 12. The vaccination rollout starts on Friday morning at the Peace Palace, barely 6 weeks after vaccinations for children aged between 12 and 17 began. The Prime Minister says the decision to vaccinate children as young as 6 is aimed at getting them back to school as soon as possible. He says the next consideration will be to vaccinate children from the age of 3.
Prime Minister Hun Sen will kick off the next phase of child vaccinations on Friday morning. He says the first shots will go into young arms at the Peace Palace, and those children have already been invited. The kingdom has approximately 1.9 million children in the 6 to 12 age group. The Prime Minister has emphasized that the availability of COVID-19 vaccines is not an issue.
We have decided to vaccinate children from 6 to 12 years old. If we do not vaccinate these children from 6 to 12 years old, we will not be able to open primary schools, because this age group are in primary schools and we have only opened secondary schools. It is so difficult. On the other hand, vaccines are being studied in many countries, and they are already being given to children under the age of 12. Therefore, the vaccination is not really much of a concern. The decision to vaccinate this age group has been made, and we already have the vaccines in hand.
On Sunday, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi told the Prime Minister that the Chinese government will donate an additional 3 million doses of vaccines to Cambodia. On Monday, UNICEF representative Foro Foyisat confirmed to EAC News that more vaccines are also coming through the COVAX initiative. As of 14 September, Cambodia has already fully vaccinated 71.81% of the kingdom's total population of 16 million.
After almost 7 months of closure, the capital's secondary schools started reopening on Wednesday morning. 68 public schools decided to reopen on Wednesday, having received permission from the Education Ministry to resume in-person learning. Their students all say they're glad to finally be back in class. EAC News reporter Reo Soko was at one of the capital's high schools on Wednesday morning.
As early as 6 a.m., they were waiting in line to enter Chia Sim Santhomuk High School. Vaccination cards were checked one by one. Temperatures were also taken, and masks were required. Hands were sprayed with sanitizer. They could then make their way to the class, where capacity has been capped at 15 students. Prior to class proper, teacher is explaining how students can protect themselves against COVID-19. Teachers and students all told EAC News how grateful they were to finally see each other after all this time.
The school reopening makes us teachers happy because we feel pity for the students in grade 9 to 12. They are graduating students. They don't really learn much from studying online. But now with face-to-face class, I believe this will motivate them to study harder.
I am happy because now I can meet my old friends and we are now back to studying physically.
I feel happy because I finally got to meet up with my teachers and my friends.
Teachers were all tested ahead of the reopening. According to Phnom Penh Capital Administration, just 24 teachers out of 10,419 were discovered to be COVID-19 positive. The Provincial Department of Education, Youth and Sports is cooperating with the capital's Department of Health to treat those teachers, although they are all asymptomatic. Although fearing COVID-19, Students and teachers at the secondary level of public schools are all happy to see each other again face to face. Only a few of the students can be seen around, with only 15 allowed per classroom. This pared back in-person teaching is being implemented in 227 schools approved by the Phnom Penh Capital Administration for reopening. Rhea Soko, EAC News, GSM Santomok High School, Phnom Penh.
159 private schools have been approved by the Phnom Penh Capital Administration to reopen their secondary school campuses. Most are opening from next week, but Berkeley International Academy by ELT opted to reopen on Wednesday morning. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko was there.
A day of joy for Berkeley International Academy to see their students finally reunited and filling up seats in class. The resumption of classes brings back fond memories of pre-COVID times, but students and staff have all had to adapt the so-called new normal. School head Tanya Hodges talk us through what procedures have been taken to ensure everyone's safety.
So first things first, we as a school, we had to ensure that we attained approval from the ministry to open up. Prior to that, we had to ensure that our place was clean, sanitized, and everything was put into place. We also made sure that we maintained a classroom ratio of no more than 15 students per class. And then, with regards to the opening, which is today, we ensure that students maintain social distancing. All of our students wear masks all times. And at the start of our school day, the temperatures are measured for teachers, staff, as well as students. This is to ensure that everyone is in good health.
The excitement can be seen on students' faces, finally able to meet their friends again after 7 long months of online teaching.
Tell us your feeling of being back at class. Do you prefer in-person or online class?
Well, I'm actually pretty excited because we have like different experience between both studying online and in person. But I feel like if we start studying in person, people will have like much more knowledge and every student will start paying more attention to their classes rather than online, because some students might not participate and it's a different experience. Well, I mostly miss my friends, if I'm being frank. So yeah, I miss my friends and teachers.
Are you excited to see your friends again?
Yes, because during studying online classes made me feel a little bit boring. So if we all go back to school, I could feel more interested in studying with my friends and teacher with happiness and joy.
15-year-old Martina Long told us that worrying about her internet connection was very distracting during online classes.
I'm very excited to be finally back at school. I can finally see my friends again and focus more on class, on school, on lessons, because online classes can be difficult and tough. There could be connection loss, internet can be slow, so it's really hard to focus on class when the internet is lagging. So when I finally back at school, I can finally focus more on the lesson. I can finally learn instead of worrying about my internet connection getting lost and my Wi-Fi being slow.
Teacher Christopher Rodiak told EAC News it's hard to get students' attention during online classes, and it's good to be finally able to put a real face and voice to their names. He said teachers have had to go through a series of steps to be back in class.
Before teachers could return, we all had to be vaccinated twice. So all the staff has been fully vaccinated. We've also been briefed on policies to ensure social distancing. For example, the desks in our classrooms have been spaced and put in boxes so that the students have ample space between each other. We also have to guide them from teacher to teacher so that the students can't interact. And we've also been told to keep them from interacting or leaving the school too much, just to prevent any possible transmission.
This private school in Phnom Penh has students from kindergarten to grade 12, but for now, they are only allowed to teach students from grade 7 and above. They are following the Ministry of Education's requirements. Students and staffs are fully vaccinated, chairs are disinfected regularly, and students are socially distanced. But they are very glad they are finally able to see each other in person. Yuri Matosko, EAC News, Berkeley International Academy, Phnom Penh.
The number of active COVID-19 cases in the country continues to climb. 4,002 patients are now currently receiving treatment. The cases are climbing because new daily cases are still outpacing the number of recoveries. 653 new cases were confirmed by the Health Ministry on Wednesday morning. That's against 463 patients who have recovered. 9 patients have died in the past 24 hours. The new cases take to 101,443, the country's total number of COVID-19 cases. The death toll has reached 2,067. The number of successful treatments is now at 95,367. Authorities are searching for a 14-year-old boy off the coast of Pria Sihanouk's Stung Hav district. He was fishing with his father when their boat capsized in a storm on Tuesday. His 48-year-old father managed to swim to safety. Stung Hav is about 25 kilometers northeast of downtown Sihanoukville. In and around Sihanoukville, there has been widespread flooding as a result of the storm. Pria Sihanouk Provincial Police say a Sihanoukville Special Intervention Force, led by Lieutenant Colonel Che Saliden and Deputy Special Intervention Inspector Assistant Colonel Cao Run, led a task force on Tuesday to rescue those affected. No injuries have been reported, but people, their motos, and other belongings have been moved to higher ground. The Weather Office says more storms will sweep across the kingdom in the coming days. On Sunday, Prime Minister Hun Sen described the recent US evacuation from Kabul as a bitter reminder of the events of April 1975 when the Khmer Rouge entered Phnom Penh. The Prime Minister was speaking at Think Tank 2022, hosted by the Universal Peace Foundation. Well, that US evacuation has now prompted a congressional investigation into the country's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan amid calls for the resignation of US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He beat back criticism of the withdrawal on Monday during a testy congressional hearing. He blamed former President Donald Trump for negotiating the withdrawal agreement with the Taliban, but Republican lawmakers were having none of it. The House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee getting down to a hearing planned ever since the Taliban took back control of Afghanistan. Republicans wasted no time in grilling Secretary of State Antony Blinken, with Congressman Scott Perry asking him where he was.
Yes, I'm at the State Department.
Oh, couldn't be bothered to come down here and see Congress. All right, that's great. Hey,
Sir, excuse me, sir. My understanding is that the House is not in session. And that's why the session is being
I'm right here, Secretary. So's the chairman, so's the ranking member. We're here. Mr. Chairman, reclaiming my time. Did state at any point in the evacuation process block American citizens from leaving Afghanistan?
No, we did not.
None. Your testimony before Congress is that state didn't block any American citizens leaving Afghanistan.
To the contrary, my officers, men and women, ran into the building from around the world to help Americans get out.
It's a simple yes or no. I heard you do it with Mr. Connolly. You can do it with me. Yes or no? I just want to clarify. You didn't block anybody. State didn't block any American citizens.
No. Okay. They were there to help Americans get out.
How many Afghans not meeting the qualifications of SIV have been brought to the United States? Prior to, I want to know how many Afghan citizens came to the United States that had not met the qualifications for special immigrant visa?
We're in the process of
No. How
going
many?
through.
How many? How many? How many did you bring? You were just at Dulles. How many did you bring?
We will have, by the end of the month, we will have brought a total of approximately 60,000.
That have not met the SIV process.
Some of those will have been through the SIV process. All of them, regardless of SIV status, will have gone through rigorous security checks.
It'd be nice if that was done before we brought these people to the United States of America.
SIV refers to the U.S. Special Immigration Visa for Afghans. There was another blasting of Blinken a few moments later from Republican Brian Mast of Florida.
I do not believe whatsoever what you're saying about the administration not working to manipulate that intelligence. To me, that is the most logical explanation of how so many in the intelligence community got this so wrong about what was going to happen in Afghanistan. Why it would seem somehow logical for President Biden to leave the, quote, most advanced military weaponry, why some would not speak out against that if they were getting the false intelligence because it was coming from the top down to manipulate it. In my opinion, that's absolutely aid and comfort to the enemy. I absolutely wonder if you were complicit in this as well. I find it hard to believe that President Biden would do that without you being aware of this. And these are things that we deserve to know better answers, have better hearings on this. I do not believe a word that you're saying on this.
Members of Congress went on to ask a long list of questions about the rapid collapse of the US-backed Afghan government and the Biden administration's scramble to evacuate 124,000 people, including Americans and Afghans who'd worked with them. The congressional hearing was prompted by scenes like this one. Shocking eyewitness video filming desperate civilians attempting to board a US Air Force plane as it prepared for takeoff. Moments later, those unable to get inside the plane could be seen falling from the sky. One of them was an 18-year-old member of the Afghan national football team. Well, now for a look at some other news making headlines around the world this Wednesday, the 15th of September.
Parts of southeast Louisiana were just starting to make progress cleaning up from Hurricane Ida when along came Hurricane Nicholas. Heavy rainfall forced utility crews and contractors in some areas to stop working and sent residents rushing to protect their homes in Galveston, Texas. Nicholas packed up winds of up to 120 kilometers per hour and brought rain that prompted flooding. It came ashore in Texas before moving across to Louisiana. Nicholas has since weakened to a tropical depression, but the threat of dangerous flooding remains, where the ground is already saturated. U.S. President Joe Biden has declared an emergency for Louisiana and ordered federal assistance to help in local response efforts.
Parts of India have been hit by mass flooding due to heavy monsoon rains. The video shows rescuers from the National Disaster Response Force using life jackets, ropes, and makeshift bridges to bring 31 people, including 11 women and 7 children, to safety. According to the Disaster Management Division of the Home Affairs Ministry, flooding over the past few days has affected more than 1.6 million people. 2 people have died. 18 dams have overflowed. Dozens of roads have been closed and over 70 evacuation centers have been set up.
And 2 explosions at a fuel storage site in Bolivia's Camargo City have left 14 people injured. The first explosion from a gas cylinder set off a subsequent blast at a diesel tank. The fire took 5 hours to be brought under control. It destroyed a dump truck, an excavator, a tractor, at least 2 vehicles, and also affected several surrounding homes and shops. 2 of the 14 people injured are in a serious condition.
Coming up after the break, a look at the day's sports news. Stay with us. EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the Daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear. The UEFA Champions League is now underway, and there were mixed fortunes for two of Europe's top clubs on Tuesday night. Bayern Munich thumped Barcelona, but Manchester United were surprised by Bern's young boys. In Barcelona, Bayern Munich's top goal scorer, Robert Lewandowski, didn't disappoint. He netted 2 of Bayern's 3 goals, with the other coming from Thomas Müller. It was what sports writers are calling a brutal demonstration of the gulf in class between the two sides. Barcelona have brushed it all off, vowing to do better next time. Man United are also going to have to do better next time after losing 2-1 to the young boys. Discipline let them down in Bern, with Aaron Wan-Bissaka earning himself a red card. The coach wasn't too impressed with his team's performance.
But it's in football in general. It's not just in Champions League. Discipline is a huge part of the game, and Aaron's normally a very, very astute tackler, one of the best in the world. So we know we've given ourselves a more difficult task than what we did last year, but everyone thought we were through after 2 games last year. You need 10, maybe 12 points. You need to win your home games, win 1 away from home. And of course, we've lost an opportunity to get 3 points, but we've got 2 home games next, and we're going to focus on them too.
Man United fans did have something to celebrate, though. Their prodigal son, Cristiano Ronaldo, scoring their only goal of the night. Football icon Pele has been moved out of intensive care and into a general room. The Brazilian underwent surgery to remove a tumor from his right colon last week.
São Paulo's Albert Einstein Hospital says the 80-year-old is in good clinical condition. 3 times World Cup winner Pele was admitted to hospital earlier this month after the tumor was found during a routine checkup. It is not yet known if the tumor is cancerous. Pele has suffered from hip problems for years and cannot walk unaided. His public appearances were already being cut back before the pandemic. Since then, he has made only a few unnecessary trips from his home near Santos. Pele tweeted in the hours after his surgeries last week that he was doing okay and thanked fans for their support.
The US Soccer Federation has offered identical contract proposals to the men's and women's players' associations in an effort to bring them under one collective bargaining structure. Essentially, it means equal work, equal pay for both male and female players. US Soccer says finding a way to equalize FIFA World Cup prize money between men's and women's national teams is now necessary as well. FIFA offered prize money of just $30 million to teams at the 2019 Women's World Cup. In the Men's World Cup, prize money of $400 million was on offer. There's been no immediate comment from the US women's national team seen here in training. But US Soccer's announcement came just days after its president, Cindy Parlow-Cone, called the massive discrepancy in FIFA World Cup prize money the most challenging issue in their negotiations with the two teams. The US won the 2019 Women's World Cup, but the prize money they took home remains a major bone of contention. The women's team sued their national governing body, seeking $66 million in damages under the Equal Pay Act. They alleged gender discrimination in compensation and nearly every other aspect of playing conditions. A judge threw out the players' claims that they were underpaid. The women's team has since filed an appeal. It's hoped the new collective bargaining agreement will bring the legal dispute to an end and pressure FIFA to equalize prize money across its two World Cups. All right, let's take a look at tomorrow's weather. And finally, Elton John sings about the pinball wizard, but that's about someone good at playing pinball. No one has written a song about someone actually being a pinball, at least not yet. Produced by Red Bull, the film shows a young woman unveiling a pinball machine, but instead of a metal ball, she sees a man and decides to play anyway. What follows is not a result of special effects or animation. This is called free running, and it's all very, very real.
This set is gigantic. It's 17 meters high, it's 16 meters wide, and 20 meters long. It's an angle of 45 degrees, and I don't know if you understand how much 45 degrees is. It's a double black diamond slope. It's something you don't go down, you can't, because it's more like falling than anything else. So if he's on top of that thing, I've been on top of that pinball machine, and I can tell you, it's freaking scary. Like, you look down and it's like a 4-story building. You're gonna fall down if you miss that ledge. That's basically the scope of it.
The human pinball is Latvian freerunner Pavel Pedkins. He learned to free run on a bridge in his home country. He's now a Hollywood stunt double and came up with the idea for the film while playing on pinball machines on a road trip across the United States. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News channel. You'll get more breaking news and updates from our website. Head to www.eacnews.asia. You can also search for EAC News on Telegram and at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team in the Daily Roundup tomorrow night at 8. I will see you then.